Hi, and welcome to our tutorial. We are Radio Transversal, a product of Broadcasting Europe, and funded by Erasmus. Today, we want to take you through the steps of setting up your very own web radio station. Now, if you've been thinking about doing this for a while, we're here to show you just how simple it could be. So, between myself as narrator and our volunteer Luca, we're going to go ahead and take you through what you need to know. So let's start with everything you have. So you're going to start with a console and a whole bunch of equipment that might be scary at first, but let's not panic. Let's just look at it as a whole, as things that need to be plugged into each other in order to get them to work. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of things here, and while we've decided to show you the very basics, this is exactly what you'll need to set up. So let's start with your microphones. Now we've already assembled these, but the assembly is pretty simple. You're going to have your stand, you're going to have your microphones, and it's pretty intuitive to set these up. So don't be scared. It's okay, Luca. Don't worry about it. I'm going to take you through it step by step, okay? First, you have your console. Now this looks pretty amazing, and it could be a little bit daunting, but don't worry. It's very simple to go ahead and set up. First, let's go ahead and decipher how we're going to power this. So as you can see, we have the cable that goes from the console to the computer and the power cable. Now, don't worry, Luca, we're going to get this done. So let's go step by step and set up your radio. Step 1, take the female end, which is going to plug in directly into the console. Plug it in, make sure it's tight. Step 2, take the wall plug and make sure that you plug it into the wall. This ensures power. Good job, Luca. Now, you can turn it on by pressing the 2 buttons, and this will start the flow of power. You'll see your console light up. So next, we're going to go ahead and set up your headphone amplifier. Now, as you can see here, it'll be this little box here, and it has 4 available slots. We'll take the DC cable in order to power it up. Step 3. Let's go ahead and use the DC end and plug it into the box. Make sure it's tight. And step 4, let's go ahead and plug that into the wall socket. You can then plug in the other end of that cable to the box and verify power when the light turns on. Next, let's use the J&D Y-jack cable. Step 5. Let's take one end of the J&D cable and plug it into the headphone amplifier. Step 6. Now we're going to take the other end and plug it into the console. It's conveniently labeled phones. Luca, you're looking a little bit confused there. Don't worry, we're almost there. Now let's take the Y cable. One of these ends is actually going to go to your computer as well, and the other one is going to go to the console. But let's describe that in our next step. Step 7. So next, we're going to take the Y end of that cable and plug it into the stereo auxiliary return section of your console. Now the red is going to be for left and the plain is going to be for right. Step 8. Now the jack on the other end of that cable is going to go into your computer and the headphone jack. As we said, the microphones have already been assembled, but it's important to know that when you're setting them up to the table, you need to line it up to a corner and make sure that you tighten the screws very tightly so it presses against both ends of the table. This will make your microphone very stable. You can torque it for added stability. Step 9. Now last but not least is the USB cable. Now you're going to have the A and the B end. The A end is going to go on your computer. The B end is going to go directly on the console. So make sure that it's tightly in. And step 10. Now this is basically the last part of your hardware. And this is USB. It's going to go straight into your USB port on your computer. Now, once everything's plugged into your computer, you should go there and open the software studio that you've decided to go for. For our project, we decided to work with Spreaker Studio. Now, Spreaker is a great platform. It allows for amazing abilities, great recording and mixing, and it's super easy to use. So we've actually gone ahead and used this one, but you can go ahead and download one that's best for you. Do you have any suggestions? Let us know in the comments if you've used one of these platforms. Now, once inside your platform, you should see a layout something like this. On the left-hand side, you could have your profile. For example, here's us. This is Broadcasting Europe. And you can see some general information about how much we've used at the moment. For example, we've used 13% of what we've actually gone ahead and contracted, 64 hours out of 500, which is pretty good. And then on the side, you have your record, your drafts and uploads. Then you can actually connect to Skype. And then you should have something as what you're seeing here in the center. For us, we can actually drag and drop our tracks. So we can actually have a playlist of what we're going to play during a certain show, or you can just probably click a button and add directly from your lists. Now, you'll also see that you have the detection of your microphones. Now, because we're online, it's only showing us the built-in microphone. So you see there's no other options. Normally, you would be able to see as well the in from USB. And that's what you always want to be choosing, because that's going to bring in everything from that mixer that we showed you before into the studio for you to record. So it should always be USB. And right now, we only have 3 microphones habilitated, but you could probably have more. Consoles normally allow for 4. You can see the green, now that we're talking, you can see the green on next to the little speaker come up and up. You see, that means that microphone is being detected at that moment. Now, you also have a side for effects here, which you can just click and it'll give you the effect of clapping, it'll give you the effect of a clicker, and so on and so forth. It's really intuitive with this software, and that's why we've chosen it, because it allows for us and our volunteers to really easily use it. Now, you also have a chat feature on this one, which is great, because when we're recording live, we can actually go ahead and talk to those listeners that are tuning in. So now it's really interesting when you click on tracks, because tracks is going to allow you to transition from one track to the next. So for example, you'll see that there's spaces for 2 tracks, and then you can actually see in the center the fader. Now you can toggle here and make sure that you're either fading in from one and out to the other, or back and forth. Now, if you click effects, you can also go ahead and moderate those there. Now, in order to go ahead and start, you actually just need to click the start button and decide whether you're going to go live, or if this is going to be an offline podcast, so you can save it for later and publish it at a later date. So right now, we're just going to click on offline, and you'll see that once we click it, it's going to take us straight into what looks like the main toggle board, but on top, you'll see that it's actually recording. Now, if you click on pause, you'll see that we can either resume it or stop. Once you stop, you'll be brought here, and you can see that you'll see what those recording are. Right now, we have 2 unfinished podcasts that we're recording at the moment. So, in order to go back, just click on recording and it'll take you to the main studio. And you can either record again or go ahead and just leave it as B for now. Now, it's pretty much it. So, as you can see, it's really easy, it's very intuitive, and while we know that we haven't gone into a lot of specifics in this specific tutorial, we hope that we've laid the foundation for you to be able to get even more interested and realize that web radio is a great tool and it is very much alive, and that you can actually do it with very little effort and relatively little money. All it takes is for you to have your heart into radio, and boom, you're ready to go. So we hope that this tutorial has been helpful. Again, we have been co-founded by the Erasmus program of the European Union under Broadcasting Europe. We hope that you've enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Bye.